Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. Cachefly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Saturday, September 7th, 2013. This is episode 1011. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by LegalZoom.com. Go to LegalZoom for affordable legal solutions you can trust. LegalZoom's not a law firm. No, they're better. You can get self-help services at your specific direction or speak to a legal plan attorney to get your questions answered and get ongoing advice. Visit LegalZoom.com. Use the promo code TechGuy and you'll get $10 off at checkout. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, or other Apple product is worth at Gazelle.com. And by Ring Central. We do everything in the cloud. That's why I love my cloud-based phone system from Ring Central. Zero startup costs, and Ring Central is $20 per month per user. Try it now with a 30-day risk-free trial. And when you buy one desk phone, you'll get a second phone free up to 20 phones. Call 800-543-9980 or visit ringcentral.com and use our promo code TWIT. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. And it's time to talk about computers and cell phones and home theater and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. Let's get those. It's going to be interesting, Heather, to see if the phones work. They failed for us yesterday in a most spectacular fashion. Are they ringing?
It was spectacular. You're going to have to love it.
They just disappeared.
Go big or go home. But they are, in fact, working because I see them going off already.
Well, this could be an exciting moment, a talk show where there are no phone calls for 3 hours. I would just have to vamp. I don't know.
Oh, I think you
think I could do
that. I have a sneaking feeling.
I could spend the whole 3 hours talking about encryption in the NSA. The latest news, of course, and we're going to talk about it with our security expert, Steve Gibson, in just a little bit, about 33 1/3 after the hour. The latest news is that you might have thought you were protecting your privacy online by, using all. In fact, I feel bad because I've been telling people for a long time, oh, you don't have to worry when you're using a secure website like your bank or Amazon. No one can see what you're doing except you and the other end, and it's completely secure. Turns out, no. I've been telling people that, it's safe to use the internet and not have to worry about anybody spying. It turns out, no. Turns out the NSA, the National Security Administration, has been spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year and subverting companies. This is the thing that's, I think, really dumb. Subverting Microsoft and others, Google. We don't know the companies. We only know that they are doing this to put back what they call backdoors in their encryption. For years, I've been saying, preserve your data, secure your data, turn on BitLocker in Windows or File Vault in Macintosh, and now all that's up in the air. Now we don't know because if these leaks are to be believed, and I think they are, so far they've been very credible, the NSA actually has amazing abilities to look into everything. There's very, very few things you can do privately on the line, on the internet. I have also said, in my defense, whenever you put something on the internet, consider it public. But I just didn't realize how. It's not public necessarily. I mean, it's just the feds that are looking. And you might say, well, that's fine, because they're merely protecting us, and it's true. That's the mission, isn't it? Against terrorism. It's for our own good, and I think that's certainly the rationale for it. You might be interested to learn, though, in many cases we have information about low-level operatives within the NSA sharing, phone calls between two people, sexy phone calls. Oh, you ought to listen to this one. Oh. This, by the way, from an NSA leaker, so we know, it's true. it's disappointing. It's disappointing. The majority of devices connected to Tor. Now, Tor is a system used. It's supported by the Electronic Frontier Foundation and others to protect your identity online. Now, yes, admittedly, this could be used by bad guys, and probably is. But it's also used by whistleblowers. It's also used by dissidents in other countries to communicate without risking their lives. Turns out, National Security Agency has that too. They know what's going on inside of there too. Well, we're secure, I guess, from everybody except our own government. It's going to be a problem for companies like Microsoft doing business outside the U.S. because already we're starting to hear from countries like Brazil that says we're not going to use any American technology anymore. We don't trust it. Didn't we in fact say, oh, just recently, don't use phones made in China. They're probably spying on us. Yeah, well, guess what? Chinese could say the same about us. Rush Holt, who's a Democrat from New Jersey in the House of Representatives, has introduced a bill I think we should support. I like the idea, and I want you to write to your member of Congress and say support it. It's called, and I like the name a lot. What is it here? I've got to get the exact words. The Surveillance State Repeal Act. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's repeal that surveillance state. He's a physicist, so he's a smart guy. He understands technology. That's part of the problem, I think. A lot of the Congress doesn't. And just gives the NSA and others carte blanche to do whatever they want. He says the NSA is overreaching and could hurt American interests, including the reputations of American companies whose projects the agency may have altered or influenced. We pay them to spy, Congressman Holt said. But if in the process they degrade the security of the encryption we all use, it's a net national disservice. His bill, which probably has zero chance of passing unless we all write to our members of Congress and say you better pass it if you want to get reelected, I think that's the only way to do it, would eliminate a lot of the escalation in the government's spying powers. This all since 9/11. I understand why they're doing it. Problem is when governments get this kind of power, they very rarely give it up. And if a government should go rogue on us, and it's happened in the past, they can use it in all sorts of nasty ways. Anyway, something you should pay attention to. I think the Surveillance State Repeal Act. I love that name. Let's roll back the surveillance state. It's never happened in history. General Clapper, the director of national intelligence, the guy who lied to Congress last spring, saying, no, we don't spy on Americans. No, never. And then admitted, no, I was lying. He criticized these reports, saying, it's not news. Oh, good. Oh, it's not, you should know this. And he says, oh, these articles, this revelation damages American intelligence collection. Yeah, you bet it does. It does. He says our adversaries now know the techniques we use to spy on them. By the way, you know who the adversaries are? According to some of the stuff leaked by Edward Snowden, the adversaries are us, you and me. That's literally the language used by the National Security Agency talking about this. We can now break the encryption used by regular people, our adversaries. Good news. So I use encryption, and I continue to use encryption, and I will use it more, much more, not because anything I'm saying is of any interest at all to the NSA, although apparently everything is, but because I think it's just my right to do so, to have some privacy. You know, the response from the NSA is, well, if you're doing nothing wrong, you shouldn't worry. There's nothing to worry about. Yeah, well, I'm not doing anything wrong in my private life, but that doesn't mean I want a camera in my bathroom. You know, they're just places that you deserve and should expect privacy. And so I use strong encryption, which, by the way, as far as we know, has not been broken by the NSA. This is the irony of it. These techniques work in some cases, but the bad guys are perfectly aware and always have been of how to protect themselves. So, all this catches is, I guess, dumb crooks. I really have to say I'm suspicious about the whole thing. It doesn't really seem to me that this has anything to do with terrorism. It has more to do with, hey, we can do it, so let's. We can have the technology. Let's use it. Who knows what we might find? We could talk about that. It's kind of depressing. Let's not talk about that anymore, okay? 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. If you want to talk about it, we can. And as I said, Steve Gibson will give us the lowdown on exactly what we know and what we don't know at 33 1/3 after the hour. But we can also talk about tech. Hey, pay no attention to what's going on over there. Shiny objects ahead. The new iPhone and all that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Do you think I'm too heavy to spend all this time talking about this NSA stuff? I should just talk about shiny objects that we can buy, the fact that Google has named its new Android version after a candy bar, that kind of thing. The problem with technology is there's a lot of that. There's a lot of cool, neat, ooh, look at the new TV, look at the new phone. But there's also some really important stuff. And so I feel like I should talk about both of them.
Yeah. It's our lives.
Yeah. We will talk about the new iPhone coming out Tuesday. We will, and whatever else Apple's going to announce. Apparently, there's secret stuff. At least we're hearing rumors of maybe a new Apple TV or something. Yeah, not television set, just the little hockey puck.
The
box. We've got new phones came out this week from Samsung. New watch, the Galaxy Gear. There's so much to talk about.
Wow.
And I like to talk about the fun, pleasant stuff, but I do think it's really kind of important that you understand the pros and cons, the ups and downs of what's going on online. So here's what we're going to do. Normally, Scott Wilkinson joins us to talk home theater at 33 1/3 after the hour. We'll defer that a little bit. So, Scott, we'll put you on in the fourth part of the hour, and we'll do Steve Gibson, our guru on security, because I wanted to cover this story with somebody who really understands it at the bottom of the hour. But meantime, Heather Hammond.
Yes.
Phone Ranger. Who should I kick the show off here? We've got a lot of phone calls. The phones are working, apparently.
They are working
until I press
better
this
than
button.
Ever.
We'll see. We'll see.
Jim in Woodland Hills has an interesting question I think you'll appreciate.
I love it. Thank you, Heather. Hello, Jim. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Leo, I am so tired of buying batteries for my digital camera, and I'm wondering if a sensible replacement might be to just go ahead and buy the $99 Nextbook cheapo tablet and just use that as a camera because it can be recharged. But would that make any sense?
So most digital cameras now have rechargeable batteries, lithium-ion battery packs. A few cameras, and in fact there's a real advantage to this, will use regular batteries. That's nice if you travel, because if you can't plug it in, you go a couple of days, you can buy or have, standard alkaline batteries and put them in. But those cameras will use the rechargeables too, if you want to.
I've tried to use rechargeables in this. It's an old Canon PowerShot 8.
Yeah, the Canons. And I don't know if anybody makes those battery cameras anymore, but boy, I thought that was a great idea for traveling particularly. Yeah, you need to use the high milliamp hour, the high capacity rechargeables, but they will work.
Yeah, and it just eats them up. I mean, they go really fast. So, like I say, I'm just curious, do you have any opinion of this, the $99 Nextbook tablet that Walmart's selling for?
No, don't buy it. You'd be crazy.
Okay.
These cheapo tablets from China, these knockoffs, are junk. And if you have a problem with them, you're not going to be able to get a replacement. So the very cheapest one I would get is the Google Nexus 7, which is a lovely Android tablet from Google. So you have some support for it. You can buy it at most office supply and electronics stores. And it's only $229. $100 tablet, not good. Don't do it. You're wasting your money. Now, Eneloop batteries, which are the latest, I think, who makes them? Samsung, somebody, are very, very good. I would try them. I think if you get the high capacity, Panasonic makes them, or Sanyo. If you get the high capacity ones, I think that they're going to work fine. Nickel metal hydride rechargeables in those cameras. I used them in my Canon for years.
Okay.
So try the Sanyo, Eneloop. You can get them on Amazon. Many stores sell them. Those are good rechargeables. It should give you enough juice to use your camera. Very similar to alkalines. Very similar to alkalines. But I cannot I understand that a tablet would have other advantages over a camera. It's rechargeable and so forth. But I cannot. Even if, in fact, it's a false economy. Oh, it's only $100. Wow. Yeah, but if it's $100 and it's a piece of junk and you don't use it after 3 days, that's $100 wasted. So better spend a little bit more, in my opinion. You'd be much better off getting a better tablet. Same thing happens with computers too. People try to save money, and it's a false economy. John, San Diego, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, John.
Hey, how you doing, Leo?
I'm well. Costco has Eneloops. All right. What can I? Oh, get the charger with the Eneloop. Obviously, you don't want to just get the rechargeable batteries. You have to charge them. What can I do for you, John?
Well, Leo, there's a comment here. Maybe we ought to give the NSA something to listen to.
Well, that's one of the reasons. If you want to be a little bit subversive, I have a subversive streak. I'm a little anti-authoritarian. Then use encryption on your email, even if it's boring, generic email. And they'll spend time and energy trying to encrypt it. They'll save it all, and we'll just clog the pipes.
Well,
I think the best thing to do, frankly, is to just give them some oversight. The problem is Congress has rolled over on this and says whatever you want to do. Nobody in Congress wants to be the guy that did something that caused a terrorist attack on our soil, and I understand that. But Congress's job is oversight of these law enforcement agencies. These law enforcement agencies will go overboard if nobody pays attention. So I think we need them. I think they're doing a great job. It's a very important job, but you can't give up on oversight. And these secret courts are not doing it. The secret courts are even saying they're not doing it. They're not doing a good job. Congress is not doing a good job. They need to give them strong oversight. Then we can have security, but also have encryption and have privacy. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What can I do for you? Yeah.
I've been Mac user for a while, and I've got AppleWorks 6. And a number of years ago, I took a trip around the country for a year, and I wrote a 100 or 200,000 word diary, and it's all in AppleWorks.
Oh, dear.
Well, it's fine. I can still use it.
Well, export it as quick as you can, because AppleWorks, who knows how long that's going to...
Well, they're telling me that if I upgrade, I've got 10.6.8, which I think is Snow Leopard.
Yeah.
If I go up to the next one or the newest...
AppleWorks will stop working.
Exactly.
Because AppleWorks requires Rosetta. So here's the deal. You can take all those documents. You should do this. You should do this now.
Yeah.
And export them as RTF files. That's a generic format that anything can read.
RTF files?
RTF, rich text files. Those will preserve formatting. If you don't care about the formatting, you just want what you wrote, plain old text, TXT.
Well, I already saved them as FTP files or whatever, I can't remember what I saved them as. But
well, save them. The point is save them as something besides AppleWorks can open.
Right. Well, that's just it. So the RTF is going to be
RTF and text are good. Pages, which is Apple's new word processor, will read, I believe, those Apple Docs. So
right, they do now, but I'm concerned that if I go off into the next layer, the next version of this software, that I'm going to be, it's going to be screwed completely, gone.
Well, you're right to be. So that's why. So in a way, this is kind of like the backup thing. Boy, this is an important issue overall. Is that file formats disappear? Media changes. If you saved all these things as an AppleWorks file on a zip disk, 5 years from now, good luck. It's like written in Cyrillic and in ancient Cretonian. It's not. You can't. So save it in a format that will be legible forever, text or RTF, and keep it on your hard drive, and then use Pages when that time to come is to upgrade. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Steve Gibson is here. He is kind of legendary in security circles, the guy who discovered spyware, named it, wrote the first anti-spyware tools. He has been a devoted explainer of how security works for 8 years on our show, on the Twit Network, Security Now. And, of course, the first guy everybody wants to hear from when you read these stories about the NSA undermining crypto. Hi, Steve. Welcome.
Hey, Leo. Great to be with you.
So, what can the NSA do and what can't they do?
Okay, so the reason I wanted to chat with you for a bit about this is that one of the things that the press often does is create very inflammatory headlines in bold, big print, and many people don't get much past the headline. And so, and of course, the press wants to create readers and pull people into the story. And so what we've seen this week is some additional information coming out, and unfortunately, the press has tended to publicize it as, oh my goodness, just give up. There is no chance of being private on the internet.
That's not true.
And people have felt, and then there was like a lot of flurry in Twitter about crypto being hacked. That crypto's no good anymore because the NSA has secretly installed backdoors, and none of that has any foundation.
Oh.
What we actually learned is that something that we all know about security, which is that it's about the weakest link in the chain. To have something secure, it has to be secure from the moment you create it all the way until the moment it's delivered at the other end. And it turns out that the cryptography, the mathematics, is still unbreakable. It is the strongest link in the chain. It's all the other things. It's the employees you hire. It's, are you keeping your, logs of access to the server room? It's like now we know that the NSA wants very badly to circumvent privacy. I think we have a better bullseye on that than we ever have before.
It's clear because what happened, and it happened in the 80s, but of course got stepped up after 9/11, is that the NSA was increasingly concerned about this black hole of encryption.
The going dark.
The going dark. They couldn't see into... they've always been able to wiretap analog phones, but the new digital phones they couldn't see into. Skype they couldn't see into. So that got them very concerned.
Yeah, when they would have a tap on the major internet interchanges, in the old days, email was going back and forth and they could read that. Web stuff was going back and forth and they could read that. And so they've been watching, but over time, security levels have increased. And we're seeing, for example, Facebook now has the HTTPS. Google searches are HTTPS. This gives privacy to their users, but the NSA isn't happy because now they just see gobbledygook going across the wires.
And not just the NSA, but the FBI, the DEA, everybody in law enforcement. Yeah, domestic and international.
Right. So in the same way that what Snowden, the Snowden leaks and revelations revealed with much more clarity was like the scope of this process, which has unnerved many people. What happened with this most recent set of revelations was we got a sense of the intensity with which the NSA appears to be pursuing ways to get around the security. They still can't crack the actual security. That's math and that's bulletproof if it's done correctly. But there's all kinds of things they can do, again, the weakest link. If they can find some other way by, installing a spy, they're like their own NSA agents in Google, for example, who get promoted and they're actually sort of, working on the NSA's behalf. That's the area where, you can still be unnerved about that.
Yeah.
Yes, you can still be unnerved about that.
Are there backdoors, do you believe, in, let's say, Microsoft's BitLocker encryption?
I agreed with everything you said at the top of the show. I think you characterized it exactly right. The problem is we don't know, and BitLocker is closed.
We can't look at the programming code.
Right. Whereas, for example, TrueCrypt, which is an open source, communally developed tool that does the same thing, I would absolutely trust that. And and distrust BitLocker only because now what we now know for the last 6 weeks of watching all of this drama unfold with the NSA is they may well have put pressure on Microsoft to build some backdoors that would allow them to decrypt BitLocker drives. We also have seen stories where the FBI's efforts have been frustrated to decrypt TrueCrypt encrypted drives. They just can't get in there.
Yeah. So open source is your friend here, because people maybe smarter than me, but people can look at the code and say, no, there's no government backdoor for the Chinese or the Americans.
Well, and it's typically it's developed by a global community of involved people who all simply believe that individuals ought to have the right to privacy.
Yeah.
And I don't.
How about Tor?
Microsoft
Because
never really said that.
Tor. It sounds like they've cracked Tor, the onion router, which is an anonymizing system.
Well, yeah. So I think one of the things they're doing is they're tending to focus, which makes sense, their resources on the kinds of tools that bad guys might prefer using.
That does make sense. Yeah.
So somebody who wants to be anonymous. We all have the right, I would argue, and I know you would, to be anonymous on the internet. That sort of is the way it's always been. But the bad guys have a need to be anonymous more than just a desire. So it makes sense that they're going to focus their budget essentially on the areas where they might think bad guys tend to be.
And so we have a minute or two left, the takeaway. What should people do? How should they approach this? I mean, I've argued that one of the things you should do is write your member of Congress and say we want better oversight over these agencies. We don't want to dismantle them. We just want to make sure they're acting responsibly. Yes.
I think it was Sensenbrenner, who was the original author of the Patriot Act clauses, has come out this last week and said, this is not what I meant. So, even the politicians that wrote the law have now, had the blood drain out of their faces and saying, wait a minute, this is not what I was promoting. This is gone way further than we intended. So, yes, I think you're right, Leo, that we need policy to back off so that then the execution can be reeled in a bit. They're going to want everything that they can get. But if nothing else, the very fact of the Snowden leaks demonstrates that the NSA is really not clever enough to be responsible for our privacy.
One last question. People often assume, conspiracy theorists, that somewhere in the basement of the NSA there is a computer so far beyond anything we know today that they are able to decrypt this stuff that we've hypothesized couldn't be decrypted by current technology. Is that possible?
We can't. It's certainly possible. I mean, okay, we could say anything.
You can't prove
possible.
The negative, I guess.
Right. Yeah. But from everything we know, for example, the next generation breakthrough quantum cryptography is still decades away, and even the application of supercomputers that would tend to maybe shorten the time to crack the codes from 257,000 millennia down to only 100 millennia. So we're still safe.
Steve Gibson, grc.com. That's his website. Thank you for joining us. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Thanks, Leo.
That's always fun to have Steve on. He cuts right through that stuff. Hey, our show today brought to you by my friends at LegalZoom.com. We have podcast sponsors. That makes me happy. If you're enjoying the Tech Guy podcast, if you listen every week, it's because of companies like LegalZoom.com. I'm a LegalZoom not only fan but customer. When we started Twit way back when, it was just me, and I couldn't afford a law firm. I guess I could have gone to a lawyer, but I talked to my friend Kevin Rose, who started many companies, and he said you really should incorporate or do an LLC. He likes LLCs, so I went to LegalZoom.com. Went through their simple process, and I had an LLC operating agreement we're still using today, 8 years later. We're a much bigger company, but it works. A lot of pride comes with starting your dream business. I know it did for me, but it's so important to legally protect yourself and your personal assets. That's what an LLC does. It means that they can't take your house. I recommend LegalZoom.com over 12 years old now. 1 million business owners have trusted them to help start their business. They'll save you time and a pile of money on startup costs, give you the solutions you need. LegalZoom's not a law firm. They give you self-help services. You direct it. You have control of it. That was important to me, too, to know the process step by step, to understand what I'm doing. If you want advice from an attorney, they will connect you with an attorney. They've got the LegalZoom legal plan, which is new and fabulous in almost every state. You can pick an attorney based on their profile and unedited user reviews at a flat pre-negotiated rate. LegalZoom.com. Get an LLC, a DBA, incorporate, form a nonprofit even, starting at $99. They also do wills, trusts, trademarks, and more. Here's the only thing I ask. If you go and you use LegalZoom, check out what they can do. Durable power of healthcare attorney. That's good. Highly recommend that one. You'll get $10 off when you use our offer code TECHGUY, one word in the checkout box, referral box. LegalZoom.com. Use the offer code TECHGUY, $10 off. They'll know where you heard it. And that's what we care about. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, thank you, Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru. Normally, Scott's on at 1:30, but we wanted to get that conversation about crypto on with Steve Gibson. Scott and Steve do have something in common. Both host podcasts on my Twit network. They're my local experts. Steve's the security guy every Wednesday. Every Monday, Scott Wilkinson is the home theater geek. That's the name of his podcast. Hi, Scott.
Hey, Leo.
Also, editor-in-chief at the AVS Forum, avsforum.com. He knows everything about TV. And we'll be coming over to calibrate my TV next week.
Oh, man, I am so excited about that. I got to tell you.
Football looks good on it. You know, it's a little wonky. Like, it seems to keep forgetting that I don't. We talked last week about the interpolation. It does do that.
Yeah.
And it keeps going back to it. So I turn it off and then it comes back on and I can, boy, you see the plastic look really, I mean, I know when it's happened. It also has a color temperature. It has cool, standard, warm 1 and warm 2, and it keeps jumping to warm 2, which is very yellow. So
yeah, kind of yellowish, kind of reddish.
Yeah. I'm presuming if you do a custom calibration, it will pay attention to what you say.
I sure hope so. If not, then they need to do a firmware update. But I can't wait to get some good time on that TV. You know, this
is the
OLED.
new OLED TV. Yeah.
Exactly, from Samsung, and LG makes one as well.
Have you played with the LG version?
I haven't yet. No.
So this will be your first.
It will.
You never forget your first, you know.
I'm an OLED virgin.
I love it to pieces, even with the little bugs and finickiness of the firmware, which is easily updated. The panel itself, the display itself, is just stunning.
Oh, it must be gorgeous. Yeah. I mean, what I've seen at trade shows is just jaw dropping.
Yeah.
So
it is.
But what I'm really hoping for is that, at trade shows, the colors are almost garish.
Yeah.
And I assume they put it in the, super bright dynamic mode, torch mode, for being on a show floor.
Right.
But what I really am looking forward to is to see if it can be brought into spec, into the system standards, where the colors are accurate, the white is accurate. It's not super bright that you have to wear shades every time you watch TV. And I think you did say you put it in the movie mode, right?
Yeah, it has actually a home and a showroom mode as well. So there's a big switch. I don't know what all it does. But I think if you buy this TV, you'd be nuts if you didn't hire a professional calibrator like Scott, somebody who is certified to come in and professionally calibrate it, because I think it will benefit from that. And it has more settings than I've ever seen on any TV in terms of calibration. Much more. I can't wait. Much more so than, say, the Viera, which you calibrated for me. Thank you.
Right.
It's got settings upon settings upon settings. Obviously, they understood that pros would be buying this panel and want to make sure it looked as accurate as possible.
Exactly. And when you're spending that kind of money on a TV, you can afford to spend
a couple of $100, right?
A few $100. It depends on who you get, but it's typically a few $100. Might be 2 or 3 for a flat panel like that. Although, as you say, the more controls there are and the more that the calibrator has to do, then the more expensive it's going to be generally.
There's things like how much red is in the skin tones, things like that. I mean, really lots of detail, which is... So we're going to do a special. You won't be on the radio, but we'll do a special podcast. Scott calibrates the OLED, it'll be called. In a couple of weeks, you'll see it. And I can't wait to watch, because I'm really curious as to what all of this can do,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry you're not going to be there for it.
That's why I'm having them. That's why I'm having them tape it.
Yeah, so that you can watch it.
What else is going on in the worlds of home theater?
Well, there's tons. There's a big show in Germany, I think, called IFA.
IFA's
IFA.
on. Yeah, it's on till the 11th.
And, yeah, exactly. And LG, speaking of OLED, introduced a 77-inch Ultra HD OLED. So Ultra HD means 4 times the number of pixels on the screen as your OLED or your Panasonic Viera. 1080p has 1920 pixels across by 1080 pixels up and down. Ultra HD has 3840 pixels across by 2160 up and down. So that's exactly twice the resolution, horizontal and vertical resolution, of what we now call high definition. And so that means 4 times the number of pixels. And this new LG combines the 2 big television stories of the year, really, in my opinion. One is OLED, this new technology, organic light-emitting diode, which is the TV you have, just now started coming out. We've seen it at CES for years now as prototypes, and they kept saying, oh, it's coming this year, it's coming next year. Now, finally, it's here. Well, LG has combined that with the other big story of the year, which is the appearance of these Ultra HD televisions, which some people call 4K. That's a bit of a misnomer. 4K referring to roughly 4,000 pixels across.
So we're going to call it UHD from now on, Ultra HD.
Correct. Ultra HD.
But it is really a lot higher resolution than HD.
Exactly. It is. And
now, my set is HD. Am I going to be sad that I bought it?
Because it's a 55-inch screen, you're not going to see, if it were 4K or Ultra HD, you wouldn't see any difference. You couldn't, unless you were, you had your nose against the glass.
Right.
You wouldn't. You might sense a difference. You and I have both been to CES, and we've seen 4K displays that theoretically shouldn't have looked any different, but they kind of did. You kind of sense of greater detail, greater depth. It almost looks 3D without actually being 3D. So I tend to believe that there is value in UHD, but only if you have native UHD content, which we don't have much of yet, although Sony announced this week, finally, the opening of their download service, which gives you, which lets you download native UHD content, and surprisingly, not only from Sony Pictures Studios, but from a couple of other studios as well. They got smart, and they said, we're going to try and get as much content into the pipeline as possible. And this is content that you download into a Sony server, a special Sony box that you can buy. It's about $600-700, I think. The bummer of that system is that box only works with Sony UHD TVs. Oh man! So they went to outside their studio, which was smart, but then they kept it within the Sony ecosystem.
Well, that's how they sell TVs. That's how they sell TVs.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Does it look like we're going to have a DVD format that will support UHD, a Blu-ray equivalent for
Blu-ray
UHD?
Format.
Yeah.
We probably
we're losing you, Scott. Your bandwidth is falling off.
No, Andy!
Darn you, Internet.
Darn you, Internet.
Well, let me just say this. avsforum.com, that's the place to go to see Scott's stuff. He's the editor there of all their content. It's a great place in general. I love the AVS Forum. And you can watch him on Monday on our Home Theater Geeks podcast, twit.tv/HTG. Who are you going to be interviewing on Monday? What are you doing?
This coming Monday is Paul Barton, the founder and chief designer at PSB Speakers.
I'm going to translate. Paul Barton, founder and chief designer at some speaker company I couldn't quite understand.
PSB.
Forget it. PP and J Speakers. Thank you, Scotty. Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru. The Internet, that's how it is. Sometimes Scott comes in via Skype, and you can hear at the beginning, it sounds like he's sitting right across from me, but I think probably his wife has started to watch Netflix. Thank you, Scotty. We're going to see if we can get his connection back, and maybe we can get him back on the show. Otherwise, I'll continue to take calls. 8888 Ask Leo. Might have time before the top of the hour. No, we don't. I just looked at the clock. But so we're going to break for news at the top of the hour. Reminder that our website is techguylabs.com. You'll find all the good stuff there, notes and information, links to places I mentioned. TechGuyLabs.com. More of your calls coming up. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Scott seems to be looking better.
I'm back.
What happened?
We are constantly
I don't
hearing how
know.
important it is.
I have no idea.
It looks perfect now. Does that happen sometimes during the podcast? Or
No, not that I know of. Not in a long time.
It was a big hit. But you know what?
It was a big hit.
Yeah,
no one here is using a lot of bandwidth as far as I know.
These things happen.
Yeah.
Every time I start to watch Netflix on my cable, about 7 p.m., it starts great, and then it really bogs down as everybody else in the neighborhood starts watching. So. Yes.
I have something that you could share with Scott.
We have something to share with Scott.
If you really want to do this gazelle right now.
No.
Oh, what is that?
Ultra reality. What would you do in... Oh, yeah, I saw this. Yeah, it's so funny. Scott's probably seen it, right?
What's that?
It's an ad for LG's Ultra HD. It's
yeah.
pretty funny. I saw an animated GIF of it, but I'll show you that. You've seen it or not? Let me show you.
I haven't. No, go for it.
It's pretty funny. It's gone viral now, and it's a plug for their 77-inch.
For the new one that they just
UHD.
announced.
Yeah,
that's just a prototype. That's just a concept piece.
I know, but they made it. They want to plug it.
Yeah.
'Cause I think nowadays these things are happening. Here it is: reality or ultra reality. Oh, it's an 84-inch.
I don't think it's OLED then. I think it's just...
No, it's just a UHD. It's their 84-inch UHD.
Yeah.
So they made it look like it's a window.
Oh, with a hidden camera.
Yeah.
¿Cómo le va? ¿Cómo está? ¿Me permite sus documentos, por favor?
Sí, aquí, el currículum.
Bien. Ingeniero comercial.
Now watch.
Así es. Perfecto. ¿Licencia de conducir la tiene al día? Sí, al día. Ya, perfecto.
Oh, no.
¿Usted está más o menos claro cuáles son los propósitos de nuestra empresa? ¿Algún problema?
Bueno, principalmente...
¿Algún problema llegar acá ahora?
No.
Oh, that's kind of not funny.
Aquí están las...
That's terrible. It's such a mean thing to do. That's such a mean thing to do.
They should have done Godzilla or something, less believable. Look at these people. They're crapping their pants.
Do you think they're actors, or I think they're actors? I think they're decent actors. They're not great actors. That is because that's just too mean. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny?
Oh, man, that's hilarious. I mean, you're right. It's mean, but it's hilarious.
I think they're actors. They seem a little phony to me. Anyway, all yours.
Okay, thanks. You okay if I blow the shofar for the high holidays? It's the new year.
Please, Shana
Here it
Tova.
is.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a lot higher pitch than I thought it would be.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Rosh Hashanah was last Thursday. Started Wednesday night.
And then Yom Kippur is soon, right? I mean,
Yom Kippur is Friday. Starts
Friday. Okay.
Thursday night. This coming Thursday night. I'm sorry, it's Saturday. Starts Friday night.
Neither
Starts
Scott
Friday.
nor I are Jewish, but he likes to blow the shofar.
I'm not technically Jewish. No, that is correct. However,
Technically,
well,
he's an honorary Jew.
I'm an honorary Jew. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
My mother is not Jewish. My father wasn't Jewish either. So I'm not Jewish.
Do you know any Jews?
I do. Both the women I married are Jewish.
I know. I Jennifer and I always said we were honorary Jews because we only dated Jews. So there you go.
Right.
But then we got married in a Unitarian church.
Right.
Which is mostly Jews.
Yes, exactly. I was raised Unitarian, so that's another reason to count myself as an honorary Jew.
And we're friends with Dr. Mom, and that's the most important.
Exactly, and that counts too. Exactly right. Lashana Tova to William Becker and Dr. Mom, and I'm not remotely Jewish, she says. But I am a member of a Jewish community, and I'm the Baal Tekiah, the shofar blower of this community.
Neat. Yeah, that's kind of neat. Yeah.
So I do blow the shofar at the high holidays, and I'm also the musical director. We have a 20-piece chorus and an instrumental ensemble, and lots of music goes on there. So it's really fun. And it's why, in fact, I can't come up before you leave to calibrate your TV. And I wish I could, but that damn lunar calendar, there is no escaping it. Anyway, there's always a joke in there about blowing the shofar. I do agree with that. Seven Cosmo asks, what do I think of HDMI 2.0? It looks like it's finally here. LG, was it LG? I think so. Announced the first, Panasonic. Panasonic announced the first UHD TV with HDMI 2.0 and DisplayPort 1.2 on the TV. I think it's the first TV I know of anyway with DisplayPort and HDMI 2.0. Sony's UHD TVs also announced that their newest models will have HDMI 2.0 by way of a firmware update. And I didn't think that was possible, but apparently it is. I thought it needed some new hardware, but apparently they can do it with a firmware update. So we are going to see HDMI 2.0. Now, here's another interesting thing about HDMI 2.0. I thought, and I know that the common wisdom was that if you wanted to convey UHD, this ultra HD ultra high resolution signal at 60 frames per second, 60 progressive frames per second, you needed HDMI 2.0. HDMI 1.4, the current version that new TVs now have, couldn't convey that. So we all thought. But at a press event this past week, Sony demonstrated sending UHD at 60 frames per second, progressive, to a TV over HDMI 1.4. And it worked. And we were all shocked by that. I certainly was. It's like, wait a second, I thought that wasn't possible. But Sony demonstrated it, and it was possible. And not only did they didn't only just claim that that's what was happening, you could see it on the TV. The TV shows you what's coming in. It gives you the specs of the type of signal that's coming in. And there it was, certainly in black and white, or color anyway, 3840 by 2160, 60 frames per second, actually 59.97. It has to be a fractional frame rate because of the way black and white became color in this country, but call it 60 for rounding purposes. And so that was quite surprising. That was very, very surprising to me. And so, we may not need it after all. Let's see here.
Don't answer another one. We're going.
Here we go.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about computers and the internet and answer your calls, too. I appreciate your patience while we got a couple of our regular contributors on the air here. But we're going to do all calls this hour. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the number. Lots to talk about. It's going to be a busy fall. Tuesday, Apple has an event. They're going to be revealing, we believe, the new iPhone. Invitations went out, as is traditional with Apple, a week before. So last Tuesday, to a small number of journalists, very small this time, because Apple's holding the event in the town hall on their campus, on their Cupertino campus, which is, last time I was there, I think it's like 150 people. It's very small. Normally they'll do it in a much larger venue. So a few people will be going. I'm hoping because of that, Apple will stream the event. In any event, you'll find out shortly after. Only the hardcore fans really care that much. Apparently, there are some hardcore fans already in line at an Apple store, even though the phone hasn't been announced. This seems foolish. In fact, it has nothing to do with the real desire for the phone. No, it's just publicity-hungry people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Those types.
Yeah. Well, for years, of course, there were lines when new iPhones came out, and somebody cleverly noticed that the local news crews would always interview the first person in line. So if you can be the first person in line,
you can be on TV.
Yeah, and usually in the last few years, the line has basically consisted of people who wanted to be on TV, wanted to plug something.
And then was it Samsung that did that ad that made
the fake line? Yeah.
So maybe it's over.
No, I think the lines are over because availability is pretty widespread now. These phones are they make enough of them that everybody can get one pretty much in the first day if you really wanted one. So the question is, do you want one? And we don't know really what the iPhone 5 holds. Poor Heather is still on an iPhone 4, so you're really kind of due. Here's what I'm guessing. It's going to be called the 5S. It will have a fingerprint reader. Will otherwise be almost identical to the old 5. Better camera, too, which is nice because iPhones always have had the best cameras. And then there'll be a 5C, which will be more colorful. That's what the C will stand for. But will not have a fingerprint reader and will, as a result, be somewhat less expensive. It's what Apple's trying to get everybody to do is get off the old stuff, like your 4, so that you can use the new iOS 7. I think you'll get iOS 7 on your 4, but it may not run well. You'll need more processor speed.
Therein lies the rub.
Yeah, I wouldn't. In fact, if I were you, if you're going to keep your 4, in fact, anything less than an iPhone 5, I probably wouldn't upgrade to iOS 7. I would just stick with what you've got. Even when it says, hey, you could upgrade now, don't.
Okay. Gimme.
She wants my iPhone 5. She wants my iPhone 5. She's looking. She's eyeing my iPhone
Apple,
5.
Send me the phone.
I'll get the new iPhone. We'll take a look at it, and certainly I'll have a review for it. But that's not all. There's a Note 3. Did you see the new Samsung Galaxy Note? This is a big phone. These are phablets, I call them. Phones that are practically tablets.
That's funny.
The Note 3 has a stitched leather, or maybe it's pleather, back.
It sounds fabulous.
It's kind of neat. It's faster than the old one. It's bigger than the old one. The old one was 5.5 inches. This is 5.7 inches. Very nice screen, 1080p screen. The neat thing about the Notes is they have a little stylus. They're great for somebody who likes to sketch or write stuff. That's not me, but if you're that kind of person, the Note 3s are quite nice. Those will be out end of the month worldwide, and I think in early October here in the United States on all the major carriers. It's a nice phone. It's a nice phone. I do think there's going to be a new Google phone, the Nexus 5, that we saw. So Google announced its next version of Android is called 4.4 Kit Kat. We thought it was going to be key lime pie. They name their code names are all desserts. And apparently they've done a deal with the Nestle Corporation to, instead of doing a generic dessert like key lime pie, which we thought it would be, it'll be called a Kit Kat. I'm not sure I'm crazy about that. But
you don't want to bite your phone.
No. But at the unveiling, they have a statue for each dessert in the Google campus. So there's, it started with cupcake. A and B were Astro and Bender. They didn't have anything to do with desserts. But the first Google phone was cupcake. Then D was... Baby, C was cupcake. D was donut. E was eclair. F was froyo, which is kind of weird. G was gingerbread. Then there was Hot Pockets. No, I always get H. No, it wasn't Hot Pockets. It was
Heather.
Honeycomb. Honeycomb.
Okay.
Ice cream sandwich. The current version is Jelly Bean, right? 4.2 or 4.3. And then Kit Kat, which, So they put statues up. So there's a Jelly Bean statue, there's a donut statue, and the new Kit Kat statue got up. And they put posted a video on YouTube, which they have since taken down, of the statue going up and all the Googlers gathering around, oohing and eyeing. And somebody had an unusual looking phone. And if you looked real closely, as somebody did, it apparently is a new phone from Google, the Nexus 5, we believe. It will be made by LG. It'll be big. It'll be bigger than the Nexus 4. So that's going to be out, I would guess, in the next few weeks, maybe next month. Wow, it's a crazy time to be phone crazy. But you're an iPhone gal, right? Yeah. So I'd say, I think the new iPhone's in your future.
Okay.
There'll be at least 3 colors for the 5C, the high-end iPhone. Black and white, as always. And they're going to have a new champagne color, which I want. At first, I thought, oh, that's Kim Kardashian. That's too Paris Hilton for me. I'm not into bling. But then I thought about it, and I thought, well, maybe I am, actually.
It'll go with my new car.
Yeah, my blingy new car. And then the colors on the 5C look like there'll be quite a few. There'll be plastic back colors. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm going to give you my 5 because I have to hand down the 5 to somebody.
I think we have it on tape that you said you were going to.
Well, now I'm committed, and then I'll upgrade to the 5S when it comes out. So that's coming next week. We're still waiting to hear about iPads. There are rumors that Apple will announce something else besides an iPhone on Tuesday, like a new Apple TV. You know where these rumors come from? It's very strange. There are people who look at cargo shipping manifests and have noted that several containers of cargo containers have gone to Apple, and they've been labeled very oddly. Let me see if I can find the labeling on these. But people have deduced that it's probably the Apple TV. That's the new Apple TV that's coming. A new 17-watt power adapter has been spotted as well. But then there are others, CNET and others, who say, no, there'll be a software-only upgrade, but there won't be new hardware. I don't know. We'll find out Tuesday. It's part of the fun. I understand. There's really nothing to say here because it's part of the fun is predicting. People even make bingo charts, with all the possibilities, fingerprint reader, colors, champagne color, Apple TV, Apple Watch. Oh, that was another thing Samsung announced. With the Note 3, you can buy a watch called the Galaxy Gear that has a camera and the band. You can talk into it like Dick Tracy.
Oh, cool.
It'll show you the time. It'll show you text messages. It'll watch you walking. It's a pedometer.
So is Vegas taking bets on what the new
iPhone will be?
Yeah,
I'm sure you can make a bet somewhere. You know where else they're taking bets on is who's going to run Microsoft when Steve Ballmer steps down.
Yeah.
And the current front runner is Steven Elop. Now I think he's bumped up to the top of the heap because Microsoft this week announced that they were buying his company, Nokia. The Nokia phone company purchased by Microsoft for $7.5 billion. About $2.5 billion of that was for patent licensing. So Microsoft's going to now be making not only computers with a Surface, but they're going to be making their own Windows phones. In fact, probably they'll be the only ones. All right, we go back to the phones in a bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Our show today, this is perfect timing, brought to you by Gazelle. So there's a new phone coming, I hear. People report. The story is, until it's announced, though, this is like the stock market. You buy on the rumor, you sell on the news. The time to get a quote for your existing iPhone, Heather, is now because it's going to go down in value as soon as the new iPhones come out, right? And people start dumping them. So Gazelle is the place to go and lock in your iPhone price. In fact, they're going to extend the lock-in. Normally it's 30 days. You'll have it through October 15th. So tell me what your iPhone is. An iPhone 4?
Uh-huh.
And is it on what's the carrier?
AT&T.
Well, how much do you think that phone is worth? Just out of, Is it 32 gigs, 16 gigs? How big is it? Do you know?
I don't know any of
I think it's a 32. I'm going to guess 32. You probably can't tell. Is it in good condition?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect, because you've kept it in the case all this time. All right, I'm going to say flawless. But even not, if not, $120 that's worth.
Wow.
Yeah, so that means your new phone costs you only $80. How about that? How about them apples?
Exactly.
Or if somebody gives you a phone, you're going to just have $120 in your pocket. Now, the key is lock this in now because they'll guarantee it through October 15th. You got any other stuff lying around? Maybe, oh, I know. This would be a good time to get rid of that Microsoft Surface RT.
Oh, my God.
There'll definitely be a new one of those. What? I have one in my office. What is it worth now? Let's see, it's in good condition. I've got I even have the cover. $173. That's good. I'll take it. They buy Apple computers, other Apple products, of course, all the iPods, a broad variety of tablets, not just the Surfaces, but the Google Nexus, the Asus tablets, Kindles. Go to Gazelle, Gazelle. Get the quote. They will pay the postage on anything worth more than. Make sure I'm still off. Yeah, anything worth more than $1. They send you a box with the postage and everything, and then they send you cash, or you can get a PayPal credit, or if you buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, get the Amazon card. That'll be bumped 5%. Gazelle.com. Give it a try today. They have paid out $100 million to 600,000 customers over the last few years. And they're really being nice about the iPhone. They're giving you a little extra time. That way you get you can get the phone, move your data off the old one. You'll never be like in that situation where you're in between. My Lenovo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. 888-827-5536. People are asking me, well, what are you going to get for your next phone? I don't know. I'm really happy with the Motorola phone, the Moto X. I had a review unit for a little while. Of course, sent that back and ended up buying one because you can customize it. I got it red. And you know what I like about it, among other things, is I keep it encrypted and locked. But when they give you these little Motorola skip things, the little NFC dots you can put around. They give you 3 of those, and then I have one little skip that you can put on your lapel or a pocket or a keychain. And if I tap the phone to that, it unlocks it. It says, oh, you're you. So I can keep it, locked with a long password, but unlock it when I need it. And then when I get in the car, it unlocks because it's what they call trusted Bluetooth. Only in actually the Americas, I guess, unfortunately. But they'll have something similar, I'm sure, all over the world. Somebody's in India in our chat room. Proths360, he says, I can't get it in India. Well, there'll be something, I'm sure that's similar. It's a very simple, nice phone. I like it. So I'm going to stick with that for a while. 8888 Ask Leo. Heather Hummin? Who should I take?
Brian in LA
so
needs
patient.
some tips about being a good dad and thinks you can help.
Is that line 4?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Brian. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. So I'm going to be traveling to Italy later this month.
Me too!
My 3-year-old son.
I'm so excited. Oh, you're bringing your 3-year-old.
Yeah, so I'm going to be traveling by myself with him and then meeting my wife over there.
Oh, how fun.
And I want a way to be able to track him if I lose him. So I won't need the answer.
You don't want to lose your kid. And I think that's a very interesting idea.
So, as you can imagine, I spent a lot of time looking online, and I found a lot of options that, as soon as you look a little deeply into them, everybody says don't work or have a hard time working, or they're $600 or...
You mean the Toddler Tracker 3000 is not what you're looking for, huh? No. There are gadget trackers. There are a number of these little devices that are intended to be attached to your keys or your gadget. Or also there's some for luggage. I guess what you could do is like get a key tracker and make a necklace for him or something like that. They're not very big.
Yeah. Right. A lot of the key tracker stuff, like I guess the reviews or people I talk to also that have them, is they don't really work, I guess, very well.
They don't work well indoors. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Now, if you get one that's Bluetooth focused, it'll notify you, and I think this is probably a good choice, when your kid is 30 feet away, more than 30 feet away. So it's an alarm, basically. Child is moving, but it doesn't tell you where. So you have to look around real quickly and see. This is a very interesting question. 3-year-olds do have kind of that wanderlust. You're not going to lose him. I understand
that's not the plan, but I mean, I'm going to be getting on and off of trains and planes and, you know, going through crowded squares and things. And so, like, a lot of those kind of key tracker things or the non-GPS, I guess, sort of enabled devices
can kind of sound alarms, but if they're in a crowded square and
right,
they get
what's
30
going to
feet
happen?
away from you,
yeah.
they're sort of gone. So I don't know if an old iPod Touch, something relatively small, I could.
And then use the Apple, Find My iPhone technology.
Yeah. Some type of old, I don't know, an old first GPS kind of enabled phone, something that's easy that if he loses
Here's the problem with Find My iPhone. It's GPS based, so it does not work if you're indoors, or if the kid goes indoors, you'll only see the last place he was outdoors, right? I'm going to put a link in the show notes. Somebody's put this in the chat room. A Mashable list, 8 apps and gadgets to keep track of your child. We'll put this in the show notes at techguylabs.com. One of the devices they have here is the Pocket Finder. It's a GPS tracking option that offers features such as real-time tracking, alerts, safe zone designations, speed limit alerts in cars. I don't think you're going to have a problem with your 3-year-old on that, although if your 3-year-old is driving a car, you might have other problems. And this works with an iOS or an Android app. It's expensive, but it's less than an iPod Touch. It's $150, and then you pay for a service. So it's because the service gives you 60 days of map history. The problem with GPS, it doesn't work indoors.
Yeah.
So you're right. If you're in a piazza somewhere, that'll be fine. This is an interesting question. I mean, of course, you're not going to lose sight of your child. He's going to be fine. This is just to reassure you.
Right.
Wow, there's some really interesting stuff. Here's something called Canary for parents who want to track driving teens. Canary lets you know, gives you a fencing, lets you know what calls your kids are making, texts, driving speed, locations. This is a cool article. I'll put this, that obviously you don't need for your 3-year-old, but you will need it in about 15 years. You're going to very much want this, trust me. 8 apps and gadgets to keep track of your child. We'll put a link to that in the show notes. I don't know. Anybody have any experience with this? So when does your wife arrive?
She's actually already going to be there, and then we're going over to...
Yeah, but how many days are you alone with a 3-year-old?
Oh, just 2.
Because your wife's not going to lose the kid.
You might be busy,
The worst day of my life, or worst at least hour of my life, I took my 2 children, probably maybe 8 and 6, to Legoland in San Diego. And I looked away briefly, and my daughter, my 8-year-old daughter, wandered into a store. I should have known. And then I looked up, and she was gone. And I was terrified that she'd been abducted. And it was a very scary 20 minutes searching for her. We finally found her. But I sympathize. It's a horrible feeling. And she was fine. She was a little upset, too, when we finally found her. But... Yeah, so...
In my case, my wife will be wandering into the stores.
Well, that's what happened. Eventually, that was the last time I traveled alone with the children. After that, Jennifer and Abby went everywhere together. I knew exactly. Henry and I would sit in. They're shopping again, aren't they, Henry? Yes, they are. We would just sit there and wait. Boy, good question. I would love to find something perfect. Seems like technology could help you with this. I think Find My iPhone is okay. Having used it to try to find an iPhone that was lost in a field and having no success at all, I can't say it's perfect. I would look for something that uses, if you can, both GPS and Bluetooth, raises an alarm, locates, and that way you'll have some warning if the kid wanders away, and you'll have a locator that you can look at immediately. Look at this article. There's going to be something there, boy. And you know what? Brian, you're not going to lose your son's going to be fine. It's just I understand the anxiety. You're in Italy. You know what? The Italians love kids. He'll be eating spaghetti. You'll find him. He'll be eating spaghetti. There'll be 3 mamas around him going, "Oh, you're such a beautiful boy." He'll be fine. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, we were talking traveling. Let's talk with Johnny Jett, the travel guru. Johnny joins us every week to help us use the internet to do a better job of traveling. Hey, Johnny.
How you doing, Leo?
Okay, are you in a secret?
Not home.
You're not home?
Not in Toronto.
You're in a secret location. Are you feeling better?
I feel much better.
Good.
I can point the camera out the window. You can try and guess.
Oh yeah, let's look out the window and see.
I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, maybe we can't see. I see a car. Oh, you're in Nantucket.
Close.
You're on North Carolina. You're Myrtle Beach.
Not that close.
You're in Connecticut.
You got it. Next door to the state you grew up in.
Johnny Jet's website, johnnyjet.com, is a great place to go if you want to get travel tips and stuff like that.
And I'm at my sister's house right now. I grew up here.
Yeah.
My dad's here. My other sister's here, and everyone's fighting. So
that's good. That's a family. Did you hear our caller, last caller? He's going to Italy with a 3-year-old. And he wanted to know, is there any tracker he could glue to the 3-year-old in case he loses him? I want you to work on this, Johnny. Isn't there a luggage tracker now?
There is one, and actually we talked about it on the show. I'm spacing on the name, but if you Google it,
it's called TrackDot.
Johnny Jet.
TrackDot.
That's it.
And there's now shipping. No, I guess
Did you also hear about the app called the Tile app? It made the news a few weeks ago. I was going to talk about it, but then someone told me that it's kind of a hoax. But I don't know. That seemed like the most amazing idea, the Tile app, because you can put it on your phone, your iPad, your computer, whatever you lose, your kid. And you can then just go to the internet, and it will look it right up and tell you exactly the location.
Yeah. I mean, all of these have the same issue, which is they're reliant on GPS, which doesn't work inside. So I'm not sure how the Tile worked.
Have you heard about the Tile app?
I'm looking at the website right now. It's thetileapp.com. And it's just a little plastic doohickey.
Chip.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know how this could work at all, to be honest with you. How would it know where it is? It doesn't seem big enough.
Yeah, I read about it, and I was going to talk about it. I just wasn't sure if it was
doesn't
legit.
Use batteries.
I don't know how it operates. It's amazing.
Yeah, you're right. A little too good to be true.
But that would be perfect to put in a kid's pocket or around their neck.
Well,
like a necklace.
If it worked, I don't understand if it's passive. In other words, it doesn't have any batteries, so that means it's passive. I would guess it's some sort of NFC, which means you'd have to be nearby. If you got a 3-year-old, if you're within 10 feet of a 3-year-old, I don't think you need a special device.
Well, I'm sure they've seen those like monkey leashes they do for kids, or like backpacks, but there's also a leash.
I always thought that was cruel until I had a 3-year-old.
I always did too, but you know what? But after I babysat my nephew,
once you have a kid, you understand.
I totally understand. These guys, you turn around for a second and they're gone. So I'm like, man, I'm going to stop ragging on these people who have these monkey leashes.
I am very curious. This Tile doesn't. I don't understand the technology in it, so I'll have to find out. They're not available yet. It's
They're not.
It's like a Kickstarter kind of a thing.
Exactly.
They're $18.95, shipping in the winter. So there's no way this works without a battery. There's just no way. I don't understand what it could be. So TrackDot, on the other hand, does make sense, but it's a little bit clunkier, a little bit bigger. And the idea is you put it in your luggage. It has its own 3G connectivity, so it is battery powered, obviously. And you'll get a text message or email when you land telling you that your checked-in baggage is landed as well. It's very interesting technology. You don't use any of these though, right? I
don't check bags
because you don't check bags.
I do everything I can not to check a bag. My sister just asked me if I take a painting back that she painted for me, and I said I would love to, but I can't check a bag.
Ship it.
Yeah, I'll ship it. Is what I'll do.
Yeah.
It's usually cheaper. Even with your luggage, you can ship your luggage.
My mother does that now.
Go to FedEx, UPS.
Mom is 80. When she comes out to visit me, she doesn't want to have a bunch of heavy bags, so she goes to UPS, ships her luggage to me.
Just put the whole bag. You don't have to put it in a box. They'll ship the whole bag. Yeah. Just put a lock on it, and just show up like a week before, so you don't have to pay the premium prices, and do it by ground. And it's actually usually cheaper than the airline, and it's more reliable, and that way you can take public transportation, or you don't have to pay the airline's baggage fee. So I'm a big proponent of that, except for international travel. You don't want to do it for international. It's way too much money.
So what's up in your world, Johnny? What do you got?
Actually, I'm about to get on a flight, a 6-hour flight, a couple hours, and I don't have a hotel for tonight. And so I was looking at some prices, and I wanted to try out Hotel Tonight, which is an app. I think we've mentioned it briefly before, and it's a few million downloads. So You know,
The issue with Hotel Tonight is you can only get a hotel tonight.
12 o'clock p.m. local time of that day. So I had to wait to 3 o'clock here. I'm in Connecticut. So right at 3 o'clock, I got on.
These are last minute.
Going to the West Coast.
Because a hotel doesn't want to have a room unsold. But they don't know if it's unsold until shortly before it's too late.
Exactly. And the hotels don't want to put it on their website that they're offering these really low deals.
Right.
So that's how they go to these other suppliers. Hotel Tonight was one of the first. I mean, first it came Priceline and Hotwire, and now Hotel Tonight. But Hotel Tonight, you can only do it by an app.
And it has to be in the town where you're going. Yeah.
Exactly. But they now expanded internationally, so they have it all around the world, and they've done a really good job.
That's cool.
And so I just found a hotel just now for $90, last minute for tonight. And some of them, by the way, it isn't just for tonight. You can do it. Some of them allow you to book up to 5 days. It all depends on the property.
The first night has to be tonight, though.
Has to be tonight.
But you can
But it's perfect for people who are traveling and they get stuck in the airport for whatever reasons, weather, and they don't want to rely on the airline to put them up. Just go right to Hotel Tonight, download it, and snag a hotel room before it's too late.
Do you know? Is it like Priceline where you don't know what the hotel is till you agree?
No, you know the hotel, which is what I like about this.
So you
it's kind of like Hotwire. Hotwire, you know the hotel too.
Right.
Actually, Hotwire, you do not. But there is part of their website that you can find out. But this is what I like about it. But you have to wait till noon. So I didn't know. I rolled the dice today.
You have to be brave because if it doesn't work, you might be sleeping on a park bench.
Hey, it wouldn't be the first time.
Really? Have you ever gotten to a town where you just, there was nowhere to sleep?
Unfortunately, I've had to sleep in the airport. One time I landed in Sydney with my old girlfriend. And
that's why she's your old girlfriend, by the way.
No kidding.
That was it.
And we showed up. And in Sydney, by the way, they have a really great desk.
You're Johnny Jet, and you did not book us a hotel room?
Yep.
You're my ex, Johnny Jet.
But in Sydney, by the way, some airports, they have really good last-minute bookings. Some places they don't. Like London, they rip you off like you wouldn't believe. Right. But Sydney, they do a really good job. And so I rolled the dice, and I lost. We get there. They're like, "Are you kidding me? This is the heat of the summer. Everything's sold out. It's a Friday night." And my girlfriend looked at me, and I was like, "It's going to be a long trip."
And by the way, the chat room is telling me they've done some research into this tile thing, and the tiles do have a battery. It's just not user replaceable or chargeable. You have to send it back after a year or replace it.
You gotta love the chat room, man. I wish I had a chat room.
Oh, chat room's great, and it uses Wi-Fi to locate itself. I'm a little suspicious of the whole thing. I'll order some when it comes out, and we'll see.
All right. Well,
it's interesting. This must be a problem because there are all of a sudden like TrackDot and Tile. There's so many things that do this. Are people losing stuff left and right? Like, just I can't find anything anymore. Is it because the baby boomers are finally hitting senility? What is the story here?
Listen, I've been spending the last week with my dad, and every single day he's like, "I can't find my pills.
Where's
I can't
the
find my
remote?
glasses. I can't
Where
find
are my
phone."
pants?
Like,
JohnnyJet.com. That's where you'll find him. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Where's Johnny Jet? But your dad is back on the trial bench. I love that.
He is. I
love that.
It's amazing. The cochlear implant.
It's so awesome. Well, give my regards to your fam.
I will. And are we going to record some before you?
Yes, we need to do that. And you don't have to come up here to do that. I'm sorry if I missed.
I was misunderstanding. I thought we were going to do it for the new show.
Oh, I really want to do that, but we'll have to wait till I come back to do that. Yeah, we'll figure that one out.
But I'm available this week. I fly on Friday. I fly tonight and Friday.
Okay.
But I can do it Friday morning.
Are you going to be home at any time? Where's the best internet you have?
I will be home. I'll be in LA on Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay. Do you want to do it Wednesday or Thursday?
Thursday or Friday morning. Thursday's perfect. Actually, Thursday's perfect.
Let's do it. Let me put it in my calendar. We could do it Thursday at. Let's see. Today is what is today? Today's the 7th.
Lunch. I have a lunch on Thursday.
Thursday late though. Like Thursday at like 4 p.m.
Yep, that should work fine.
Okay, Record Johnny Jet. I'll send you.
Yeah, that works. Looking at my schedule, that works.
What?
Perfect.
iPad is the last thing you have.
Yeah. Should I do it? I'm just thinking 4 because should I do it at 3:30?
Well, yeah, whatever fits your. Yeah.
How about 3? Between 3 and 4.
That's no problem.
Can we make it a little open because we'll do it right after because I have to
just email me. Just email me.
Okay. Well, the problem is I won't know till that day.
Yeah, email me 10 minutes before.
Okay. Let's make it 3:30, and it only is gonna we're gonna do 3 of them, so it'll only take half an hour.
3 recordings.
And
Perfect.
I will let me put this, and I will email you the invitation.
Perfect. I got one in the bank because I didn't even talk about the stuff I wanted to talk about today.
Easy
This is already
peasy.
done.
All right. So good. I'm going to send an invitation to you for 3:30 p.m.
Pacific time.
Yep. And we'll just do a Skype just like this.
Good.
And we'll do 3 of them.
Perfect. I'll have 3 different shirts.
You rock and you roll. No, you don't have to change shirts. I'm not gonna.
All right.
Thanks, Johnny.
Take care.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dee 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 do 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 do. Oh, you know what I think is still running? Yes, it is. Holy cow! From yesterday when I pre-recorded, the audio recording is still going. I've recorded 1,310 minutes. I think I can delete this. This is overnight. And then this was...
Did we... I don't
That's where it failed.
Yeah, so I'm not counting that as done.
No, we need to do that. Yep. So this is 1019 to 1020. Still massive. Can you believe I was recording? I realized I woke up in the middle of the night last night thinking, I forgot to turn the recorder off. And the thing kept recording. It's even recorded the first hour and 45 minutes of this show. So that's great. So that's right there is almost 3 hours. 3-hour wave. Amadeus, baby. Amadeus Pro recorded 1,310 minutes without crashing. That was my big fear, is that it would crash. Talking high tech at 8888 Ask Leo. Back to the phones we go. Chris is in Greenville, South Carolina. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Leo. It's a pleasure to talk to you again. I'm a regular in the chat room, and I love what you guys do.
What's your chat handle?
I am Riddler.
Hi, Riddler.
Hi.
People don't know maybe that we have a chat room that goes not just during the radio show, but all the time. You can come in here at 4 in the morning, and there'll be people in there chatting. You can find it at techguylabs.com, and it's fun to be in the chat room because it's kind of like, I watch it the whole time. I get lots of information. So thank you for being part of the show.
Yeah, I love it. Actually, you talked about security earlier, and you had the guy who was worried about losing his kid. I kind of got a combination of those issues I got to ask you about. I'm a music teacher, and I'm opening a multi-instrumental studio. So I'll have 4 or 5 rooms, and we need to get some webcams going to watch the rooms and watch the equipment and the whole 9 yards. I'm thinking we're probably going to need 12. I'd like to be able to check on them remotely and preferably record, but, I'll take what I can get.
Well, here's what I use. 12 is a lot, and that's going to use a lot of bandwidth if you want to record. But in fact, I think this might not be a good choice. We use, if you want to see them, in fact, you can. Our webcams are on all the time in the studio. They're called drop. Yeah, you know about them. Okay, twit.tv.
Yeah, I've tried to. They're a little pricey, I thought, but
they are. And the other thing is that they use bandwidth because they're saving not to a local drive but to the Dropcam site. So you can see them if you go to twit.tv/ what is it, cam? Yeah, or cams. I don't remember.
twit.tv/dropcams.
Oh, you know that. The quality is excellent, and what happens is the Dropcam company saves it You pay a subscription fee, and you can go backwards and forwards depending on how much you pay, weeks or months. But you can certainly get something that does this locally very easily. It'll be like a TiVo. It records to a hard drive. A lot of companies, this is probably a much more common solution. Did you want to get on the internet and watch the cameras?
I'd like to be able to. That's not an absolute priority, but it would be nice to be able to check in.
You can get from Lorex, Lorex, a 8-camera system for $400 that records to a local hard drive. That's really inexpensive. And so you would need 12. You'd spend a little bit more, but you're still well under $1,000 for 12 cameras plus recording. These are the kinds of things 7-Eleven uses in places like that.
Okay.
The issue, getting it online, is the issue. Generally speaking, that can be tricky. Now, the Lorex do have remote connectivity. They'll let you go on your iPhone or your Android phone or your computer and see what's on there. But I'm not sure if it's over the internet or just while you're there. They have a half terabyte hard drive. That's a lot of recording. They got built-in night vision. I think this looks like a good solution. Lorex.com.
Great.
All right.
All right, I'll look that up.
Good luck with your new business. That's awesome.
Thank you very much. I'm a little upset that you're not using your Clemson mug today, but when I called in, but we'll forgive that today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good one. I have, instead of Clemson, I have the Ohio State University. But I will get my Clemson mug for you before the show's over. How about that? What's the Clemson? What are you saying, what's the Clemson? Go Tigers. Hey, Kevin in Anaheim, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
I want to talk to you about email and email attachments.
Okay.
And I'm certainly a dinosaur lumbering into the technical age. But what I do is I send emails to clients in PDF form, or attachments, rather. Right?
Okay.
But I send 5.
Okay.
Is there a way I can send the attachment to where they don't have to download it? They can just hold their cursor over it and view it.
Oh, that's interesting. No. Okay. Not a guaranteed way to do that, because that's dependent on the email client. If you both use Outlook, for instance, Outlook, what you call this is inline images. And some email programs will do this, but not all. On Apple, for instance, Apple Mail, if I paste a PDF link, put a PDF link in an email, and the other guy's using Apple Mail as well, I don't see the link, I see the PDF. The issue is that that's unpredictable, because you don't control what clients people are using. So maybe a better way to do this would be, instead of attaching, and I'm not a fan of attaching. In fact, what you're doing has a lot of security hazard. If people use Adobe Reader, Adobe Reader's had some severe bugs in the past. They patch them whenever they find them, but they keep coming up, that allow a specially crafted, a maliciously crafted PDF file to infect a computer. So emails with attached PDF files are very dangerous. Now, of course, you're not doing anything wrong, but I tell people listening, do not open attachments, particularly PDF attachments. So what you're doing runs counter to what I'm telling people to do. So it's risky. Here's what I would suggest. Instead of sending any attachments, use a system where people can click a link and view the PDF. That's kind of what you want. It's not hovering, but at least it's easy for them. They don't have to have a special reader or anything. Google Docs will do this, and it's free. So create a Google Docs account. You probably already have a Gmail or a Google account of some kind. And put the PDF on your Google Docs. You can people don't know this, but I think sometimes you think Google Docs, well, it has to be a Google Doc. It has to be a Google Word processing or spreadsheet or presentation file. No, it can be any file. So if you upload a PDF to Google Docs and then you share that file with somebody, when they go to the email sharing it, or they go to their Google Docs, they click on it and the PDF just shows up. This is, in fact, how Steve Gibson and I work. When Steve's doing his show Security Now, he puts a PDF on Google Drive, I use Docs and Drive interchangeably. It really looks like the same thing. Now, this might require some education on the part of your clients. That's the only negative to this. But if they have a Google account, you can send them a link with a PDF, because you've uploaded the PDF. When they click the PDF, Google automatically loads and displays the PDF. They also have on that link a button to download it so they can save it. And they can open it directly. And the beauty of this is they're using not the buggy, dangerous Adobe Reader, but the Google Drive viewer, which is patched always and kept up to date. So the security issues go away. You don't have to worry about bounce backs because the file's so big. You're not actually attaching a file. You're merely giving them a pointer to your Google Docs. And then they can view it. They have to click. That's the only difference. So this is what I would probably recommend. I don't like, sending attachments is not a good idea for a lot of reasons. It's not secure. You can easily, if you're sending 5 PDFs, if they're big and they have a lot of images, overrun somebody's email box. There's still email that only allows 10 megabytes worth of data. 5 PDFs can easily exceed 10 megabytes. So you'd get a bounce back. And then there's just security risk. And I'm telling people, don't open attachments. Don't open attachments, especially PDFs. Don't open PDFs. And now you're sending them out. So I would say it really is a good idea to use a different way. We've mentioned ShareFile, their sponsor from Citrix. That's another way you could do it. You could share the document without attaching it. I really like Google Drive for something like this because it has a PDF displayer. You don't need it to say hey, make sure you have Adobe Reader and all that. Conducting the digital orchestra, I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. And it's hour number 3 of the Tech Guy program featuring Heather Hammond. The Phone Ranger. 8888 Ask Leo's the number. 8888 Ask Leo. That's 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. Now, outside the U.S. or Canada, you can still use Skype and call us. We love hearing from you. Anywhere in the world, we talk high tech with you each and every weekend at this time. Let's get back to the phones, and we've got Kyle on the line from Los Alamitos, California. Hi, Kyle.
Leo, it's a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, it's my pleasure talking to you. What can I do for you?
So I was wondering if you've heard about these new Lego robotics systems, specifically the EV3 that just came out a few days ago.
No, tell me about it.
Oh, well, my pleasure. So I work at this robotics school called Math Robotics. We teach science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And we use these Lego robotics platforms to give motivation for the kids to learn these subjects. And just recently, the newest generation of Lego robotics just came out. It's really exciting and high-tech. And I thought it'd be a nice change. I know you like to talk about the new phones these days, and these robots are really cool. I'm just wondering if you've heard of them.
No, yeah. I mean, I know about Lego Mindstorms, which has been around for a long time. And Mindstorms is pretty cool. There's a guy who built a copy machine out of Lego Mindstorms.
Or a printer, yeah.
Yeah. But so what is new about the ED3? What makes that different?
Well, the NXT, which was the second generation of Lego robotics, they had the servo motors, they had a microcontroller, they had a various array of sensors. But what's new in the third generation is now they're using a gyro sensor and they're integrating infrared as range-finding technology. So they've really brought in these new sensing technologies that really opens the door to lots of, I mean, you can imagine all the possibilities you could do with these Legos. And now with this gyro sensor, people are doing the two-wheel segways with robots, and it sounds like that's almost impossible.
It does sound impossible. That's amazing.
5-year-olds are building segways.
Wow. So tell me what ages these are good for. Who would be interested in this?
Well, on the box it says ages 10 and up. That's what Lego Education recommends. However, lots of parents are really trying to get their kids into the STEM field or STEAM, and Math Robotics is an after-school program, so we teach these subjects even to 5-year-olds.
Wow.
So
science, technology, engineering, and math. This is, if a kid's at all interested in this, you really want to encourage it because, of course, this is the future, I think, for a lot of these kids. That is really exciting. Wow.
Absolutely. Like these 5-year-olds come in, and they're kind of intimidated by the idea of mathematics. And we try to give them incentives so they could really have motivation to actually pursue all these subjects like math. For example, when, a young kid sits down and does math, what is X equal to? They don't really care.
It's not meaningful. Yeah.
So like the robot, exactly, so the robot drives 20 rotations this way, turns right 5 rotations. Then how many rotations will have to go back to this? And they try to figure it out. They care. So it's great.
It answers the classic question every kid asks, even my 21-year-old who's taking math because she wants to do science in college and is taking higher end math. She said, why am I taking this? I said, Abby, this is... But if you can show them, if you could say, look, that's what you need to understand trigonometry to get that robot to draw a circle or whatever, then it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's so good. Now, is it for sale yet, or is it... you said it just got announced.
Yeah, so it was announced several months ago, but it was just released for the public to purchase on September 1st. So just yesterday, our company just got a bunch of these. So I've had the past day to play around with all the new features and all the new elements and stuff, and to think of ideas for new curriculum with these new features.
How fun is that? I think robotics is a great subject. High schools absolutely should have robotics classes. Many high schools participate in FIRST, which is the robotics competition. This is a great place to start, is with Legos, because it's friendly. But with sensors like that, you're doing real robotics. That's pretty impressive.
You really are, especially with these rangefinders like the infrared and the ultrasonics. There's very, very complex programming. Even with the drag-and-drop style graphics user interface programs like Mindstorms, you could have very sophisticated programs that have Boolean algebra, logic, all this stuff, like logic statements. It's crazy.
So there's Mindstorms, there's NXT, and this is what, ED3?
Okay, so the first Lego robots was the RCX.
RCX.
And then the NXT came out in 2006. And now, 2013, the EV3, Evolution 3, was what it stands for.
EV3. So it's the third generation of this. I imagine these are fairly expensive.
Yeah, it's about $350.
For the kit?
Just for the kit, yeah.
And what do you get with that $350?
Well, for $350, you get about 601 parts. You get one microcontroller intelligent brick, 2 large servo motors, 1 small servo motor, infrared sensor, 2 touch sensors, color sensor.
Oh, a lot. Do you learn to program? I mean, do you have to program this to do it?
Yes. Now, the new generation, they allow more sophisticated on-brick programming, meaning you don't have to have a computer or any smart device to do the programming, but it's very limited to its abilities. However, you can obviously use a Windows PC or even Mac to do the more sophisticated programs on the Mindstorm software.
Wow. Well, they're out of stock, it says, till September 25th, so obviously you're not the only people ordering EV3s. I'm looking at this thinking, I have a 10-year-old who would be very interested in this. This looks really cool. And you have a school? Really What's the name of your school?
Yeah, so it's called Math Robotics. We're a nonprofit. We're headquartered in Irvine, California, and we've just recently opened shop in Los Alamitos about a year ago. So that's where I live. That's where I've been running shop out of, in this new location in Los Alamitos, called Math Robotics. Like I said, you teach science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics at an after-school program.
Oh, what a great after-school idea. This is, and I can see so many kids just saying, oh, I want to do robots. And you know what? I was just reading an article that said for many years, the lifespan of information was about 30 years. A skill you learn in school was going to be good. You could really pretty much say, I'm going to learn this in high school or college, and I'm going to have a 30-year career based on this before it changes. That is now down to about 3 to 5 years. That means something a kid is learning as a freshman in high school will be obsolete before they graduate from college. So it's so important now to really start thinking about what are base skills that will be applicable. You know, you don't teach a kid how to use Microsoft Word, because who knows when that kid gets out of college what they're going to be using. You teach kids base skills to understand logic, programming logic, to understand how robotics works. You're not going to get out of school and be using Legos. But I think very good chance, if they're interested in science and technology and engineering and math, that they will be doing robotics, that they will need to understand how a command line type rotate, go 3 and rotate 4, how that plays out in real world and space. These are fundamentals that are guaranteed to be applicable. I think this is really a good time to start to really pay attention to this. And if you've got I wouldn't force it on a kid. There are lots of people, probably the majority of people, who could not be adept at it because they just don't have any interest in it. And I don't think if something bores you, you're not going to be good at it. But what a great thing to introduce a kid to. And if they are at all interested, I always felt like as a dad, that was my number one job, is just to kind of throw options at my kids and see what stuck. Well, try this. I got them fish, no interest. I got them bicycle, no interest. Got them a skateboard, big interest. And you keep trying out stuff, hoping they find a passion, something they care a lot about, because it's those passions that are going to carry them forward in life. Right? Want them to be passionate about something. Unfortunately, Heather, you and I got passionate about radio. What a mistake that was.
What's wrong with us? I love that, though. It's genetic.
It's genetic. There is something in your brain. Yeah, it's in your DNA. Hey, thanks for the call. That's great. It's very exciting. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And don't learn cursive. Dvorak's all on about, you have kids today, they don't learn cursive. Yeah, right's right, John. Keyboarding. I think that'll have some valid. Although, who knows? It might be voice by then. Gestures and voice, yeah. That's why ultimately it's not the skill. They need to learn the underlying at that age. Now, I think by the time they're old enough to be taking your courses, that's when they're learning specifics. But gosh, if you had an MCSE, 5 years ago, what use is that today? Probably none, right? So that stuff changes fast. But if you understand logic, Boolean logic, you're always going to know that. You're always going to need to know that. And you might find something you love. I fell in love with logic when I took logic in college. There was something about it I loved. Proofs.
You know what I was... Sorry.
No.
I was so surprised that I was horrible at was philosophy.
How could you be horrible at philosophy?
I know.
What was the Woody Allen joke? Oh, I was so terrible at philosophy. I cheated by looking into the soul of the person next to me.
Right. I thought that was going to be so fun. Just so big and broad.
And you didn't like it, huh?
And I was just failing it. I had to
I'm going to buy you a book.
Okay.
That I'm reading right now that is mind-boggling. I love it.
Some things I'm willing to be like, okay, not my strong suit. I failed. But philosophy, I was like, how could I fail philosophy?
I'm going to get you this book. It's all about Kierkegaard.
Okay.
And you're going to love it. And you're going to say, oh, philosophy.
That philosophy.
Oh, that philosophy. I want to get 3 of these because I want to give these to people.
Cool.
It's the book Woody Allen was carrying, I'm told, in Annie Hall or Manhattan. Yeah.
La-ti-da.
Ernest Becker's Denial of Death.
I don't love you. I lurve you.
I lurve you. I lurve you.
I need a different word for it.
Lurve you.
Kim says hi.
Wonderly?
Yeah.
Hi, Kim.
Do you want to hear something kind of funny? We did a little karaoke last night.
Oh, God. What did you sing?
We told the guy Cherry Bomb. We get on the stage.
Yeah.
We're like, what the? He was playing that Mellencamp song. We meant the Runaways, of course.
You shouldn't have to sing Mellencamp.
No, it was horrible. We were like, what's that?
That's not. What was it? Oh, Cherry, or what is it?
In the club, Cherry Bomb, they were really.
Do you know your blood type?
I don't know that song.
So then we did Joan Jett.
You like Runaways songs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, baby. Because they were powerful chicks.
Well, we saw Cherie Curry.
The Runaways.
Yes. 2 weekends ago. She was amazing. That's it. Saw her at Red Devil Lounge 2 weekends ago. 1 weekend.
I can see you singing this. I think that DJ missed a bet. think that would have been fun to watch you and Kim do Cherry Bomb.
So fun. The place she does karaoke is so mental.
Where is it?
It's just this little pub in San Rafael.
I have done karaoke maybe once in my life.
You should come with us.
I'd have to be pretty
Friday
drunk.
night. Well, yeah, you're like,
So Lisa
you
and I
signed
can
me
come.
up to sing what?
I don't know if Lisa would do it either, frankly.
You guys should do it. And there's this big guy, and he's kind of autistic, and he wore a big Elvis suit, and he sings Elvis
Oh my
songs.
God.
It's
That's
so
pretty funny. I'd
surreal.
love to see that.
It's surreal. I'm like, I need to videotape this entire night.
Wow.
And then there's like this ringer guy that's out there doing Michael Jackson.
Talking high tech, moving on here. Our next caller in Atlanta is, how is it? I can barely read this. Naseez?
You nailed it.
I nailed it. Hi, Naseez.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you. First time caller.
Oh, well, there you go. Long time listener, I hope.
Long time listener.
Good.
I'm planning on doing a business proposal and giving it to my boss, the owner of the company. It's a small company.
Okay.
We outsource technical support to major publishers for the schools. And oftentimes, 3 times in the year, we get very busy. So we have to hire temps. And those have not been doing, so it's not really productive.
No, you throw somebody into the fire there. They haven't been along for the ride. They don't know all the answers.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And most of the time, because this year it's been really busy, so then the call volume is very high. Most of them are just leaving. They're not happy. So I'm going to, my idea is to give a business proposal to the owner. I'll run it through all of my supervisors, have them approve it. But really what I want to do is open a second office in Atlanta.
Well, what can I do to help you?
Well, my question is it a good idea? If you were in that spot?
I don't know. Here, I'll tell you a story, though. There was a guy named Steve Wozniak, worked for a company named Hewlett-Packard. And Hewlett-Packard had a nice policy. I thought it was a great policy. They would let you go into the parts closet, use any parts, build anything you want. The only requirement they had was you offer it to us as a product before you go out on your own. So Mr. Wozniak, went to the parts closet, put something together, little computer thing, and said, here, HP, what do you think? Maybe you'd like to sell this. They said, get out of here, kid. Go away. Go back to work as a technician. So Mr. Wozniak took this device, got together with another friend of his named Steve. They formed Apple Computer, and now it's worth more than HP. It's worth more than HP, Microsoft, and IBM combined. So what I would suggest is go do it. And maybe the boss will say, it's a terrible idea, Naseez. Go do it. We were talking the other day about what happens when kids get out of college today. What company do they want to go work for? You know, is it Dow Chemical? Is it Ford? No. Is it Facebook? Maybe Apple. Maybe Microsoft. Google. Google probably the number one choice. But I was told no. What they really want to do is start their own business. They get out of college and they become entrepreneurs. And you know if you look at people who in fact did that and are worth a lot of money now, yeah, it's not guaranteed, but you'll never make it unless you try. So good luck, Naseez. I think it's a great idea. Yes, it's a good idea. Dave in L.A., Leo. I'm sorry, not Dave. Nancy in Carson, California. Dave, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, Nancy. I think it's Nancy.
Hello, this is Julie.
Oh, Julie. Okay. I pressed the wrong button. Hi, Julie. I'll get Nancy next. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Leo.
You'll forgive me. I'm a little confused.
Not a problem. I'm very excited to speak with you.
Thank you for calling.
Okay, let's see. I recently got my first iMac, and I wanted to know if you could tell me, do you think that I need to get ESET for it? I've had ESET on my PCs in the past, and I've been very pleased with it.
Yeah, it's a little different in the Mac world. There are viruses in the Mac world. It's not absolutely clean, but Apple has done some, I think, very smart things to make it safer than a Windows PC. One of the things Apple does is whenever there's malware attacks, they update a hidden file on your system, without your knowledge, by the way, that blocks those malware attacks. Let me tell you my general philosophy with antivirus. It's not enough. You are the most important factor in whether your system stays secure. An antivirus can be helpful, but truthfully, it's more important that you don't do the things that get you in trouble. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty cautious.
Yeah, what this means, here's the fundamental behaviors. You do these, and then you can decide whether you want to have the belt and suspenders with ESET.
Okay.
Number one, and this is true, Windows, Mac, Linux, update. And whenever there's a critical update, and Apple pushes these out on an inconsistent basis, but Apple will always tell you there's an update. Just as Microsoft would update on the second Tuesday of every month unless there was an emergency. And they will always tell you, always do those updates right away. So when you see on your Apple screen, it pops up and says it does a little box in the upper right-hand corner that says there's software updates, and you can press an update button or details. If you want to look at the details, fine, but always update right away. That's number one. And the reason is those updates frequently patch holes that allow a bad guy to get into your system without you doing anything. We want to make the bad guys work. We don't want to make it easy for them. So that's number one. The other thing to do is keep your software up to date. Apple also makes this easy. If you buy software from the App Store, it'll automatically get updated. And if you buy third-party software, then it's on you. But you should especially pay attention to software that goes online, because that's how bad guys have to get to your computer through the internet. So, if it goes online, if it's Flash, for instance, Adobe Flash, make sure that's up to date. If for some reason you decided to install Java, I wouldn't unless you need it. But if you needed it and you installed it, make sure that's kept up to date. Those things go online and they can be a problem.
Okay.
So number one, keep your software up to date. Number two is your caution. Don't be blithely wandering around on the internet and installing anything you see. If somebody sends you a link on Facebook or Instant Messenger or email that says, you're going to love this great application, it's going to wash your clothes, it's going to clean your tires, it's going to protect you from viruses, don't believe it. And don't install it, because that's what the bad guys need you to do. I've mentioned this before. I mention it all the time, but it's a perfect example. You're on Facebook. A friend on Facebook sends you a link, said, I got video of you last night. You will not believe it. And you go, oh, my God, what did I do? I thought I was in bed at home. And you click the link. It's your friend. What? And it takes you to YouTube. Oh, YouTube. I know YouTube looks safe. What you might not observe, it's YouTube spelled T-O-O-B. And it says, oh, well, I'd love to show you this video of what you did last night, but you first have to update Flash. And you say to yourself, well, that's common. I always update Flash. And you go ahead and you do it. It's not Flash. It's not YouTube. And you just got bit. So just be cautious. And then I don't think you need to install an antivirus, Nancy, to be frank. It's nice to have extra help. You are the first line of defense. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. This is neat. This is, just went to the App Store, and they were highlighting a program written by a college kid who was in here about 6 months ago. Here, I'm going to show you. It's in the slideshow. It's called Desk Connect. And it's really cool. In fact, it was our pick of the week. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that he wrote it. It was our pick of the week on Mac Break Weekly. It lets you push stuff from your Mac to a device. Send any document from your Mac to your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch. And so it's cool. So he sent me a note saying, hey, that's my program. I said, what? I said, yeah. He's like, he was a young guy. He was in here. He was mad at me because I didn't like Parks and Rec. He said, that's a great show. How can you not like that? I said, well, I'll watch it. I'm sorry. I didn't. I'll give it more attention. And he said, so we forged a relationship. Let me see if I can find his name, because it's really a cool story. Disconnect. He said his name is Ari Weinstein. He's at MIT now. Here's a picture of me and Ari. This is cute. When he came into the studio, there it is. He was just I think he was a high school kid. I think he came with his family. Yeah, he was a senior. This is when he's telling me, watch Parks and Rec. Watch Franken Show. Now he's got a featured app on the App Store. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, isn't that neat? Kids today, I tell you. And I guess he came to visit us with a group. Because here's the whole group of high school kids. Isn't that sweet? Yeah, that's cute. That's the greatest privilege of what I do is getting to hear these stories of kids who say, oh, "You inspired me, and now I've got an app on the App Store." He says, "I was very disappointed to hear your comments on Twig 146 about the TV show Parks and Recreation with Amy Poehler. It sounds like you only saw the very beginning of the show, which wasn't that great, but not seasons 2 and 3, when the show became one of the funniest, best comedies on network television, widely adored by critics, too." He's right? He's right. "Since you appreciate excellent shows like Community and Louie, I really think you would like Parks and Rec. I hope you get a chance to rewatch the show and reconsider. Start from the beginning of season 2. I did, actually, by the way, and I did love it. He is right. Sorry for the rant if you actually read it. I just can't have my favorite netcaster trashing my favorite TV show on the air without providing some feedback." I like your voice. I think he sounded like this. "I'm doing an internship in the Bay Area this summer, and I would love to get up to Petaluma to attend a TWIT recording. Thanks for the shows, Ari." Isn't that cute? And then he did. And there he is.
Oh, I don't agree with him on Community. It's just terrible.
I don't watch much network television because of the ads. So I waited, but when Parks and Rec is on Netflix now, and so Abby and I have been watching it, and it's pretty funny. Ron Swanson's hysterical. I didn't watch it at first because I thought this is a ripoff of The Office, which is my all-time favorite.
Hi there.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give you a false start.
Oh.
But you're on. You're on. This is it.
Hi there.
Yay.
Okay. Here's my problem. I live in a mobile home park.
Okay.
The owner won't let anybody come in and put any cable wires down for internet. So the people that were here before 2005 have like AT&T.
Yeah.
But once you disconnect from that, you no longer can get it.
Ugh.
So I have a jetpack
That just
from
stinks.
Verizon Wireless.
That just stinks. That's just,
It does.
what the heck? I mean, come on. Internet is a basic right.
I realize that. So anyways, I have a jetpack, and I only have 5 gigabytes a month that I can be on my computer, or I get dinged
Right.
$1.49 for each minute I go over.
Oh, that's terrible.
So what do I do?
So a jetpack is a 4G hotspot. It's what we call a mobile hotspot.
Correct.
So you're using the same kind of data that you'd use on your smartphone, but you're using it for your home internet. Now, 5 gigabytes is a lot for a smartphone, not a lot for home. If you want to watch live streaming video, Netflix, that kind of thing, you can go through 5 gigabytes pretty quickly.
Well, you just leave your computer on, and you go right through it, because when I first moved in here, I never turned my computer off because I didn't know I had to. I went right through it, and I almost went up to 12 gigabytes.
Ow!
Yeah.
Ow! Well, I don't know. Leaving the computer on shouldn't do that because it just gets email and stuff. It's what it is listening to music, streaming music, or watching streaming video. It's very easy to do that. Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah. So there are hotspots, 4G hotspots that have higher bandwidth caps, or in some cases none. You might want to look at Virgin Mobile if it's available in your area. It uses the Sprint network. Last time I checked, they did not have data caps. T-Mobile has data caps, but they don't ding you. They slow you down a little bit after 5 gigabytes. And I've been told, I went to a T-Mobile store, and I've been told that they, in fact, don't even throttle. So, you know, they have, the problem is all of these companies label it unlimited. But what they don't tell you is, well, it's unlimited up to 5 gigabytes. Then after 5 gigabytes, we're either going to charge you a lot or we're going to slow you down. We're going to do something to you.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm into a 2-year contract now because this was the only thing I could find because you can't have Verizon, you can't have Time Warner. And
yeah, well, you can't have anything with wires. So you've got to get a wireless internet service provider. So I'm not sure what's available in Carson. It's a smaller community, so there's probably not as many choices. In a big city, there's lots of wireless choices. They call them WISPs, wireless internet service providers. There may be some WISPs in your area. Usually, the higher speed WISPs require some additional hardware, a receiver, and so forth. The other thing that you can do, and I'm looking at Dave Moore in our chat room is pointing this out. You have a legal right to telephone service. You have phone service, right?
Yes, I have phone service. I have it with Verizon Wireless because you can't get anything else here.
You have wireless phone service.
Yes, I do.
I would check with local authorities. I believe that they have a legal obligation to let you get a traditional phone service, not wireless.
Well, you can get the AT&T, but they don't call it AT&T. I don't know. It's really ridiculous.
I'd be angry with the landlord. I don't blame you. I think that's crazy. I understand they don't want wires everywhere, but you have a right. You have a legal right. Now, if you have a landline, then I would contact the company that offers the landline service and say, I want DSL, and you should be able to get high-speed internet. There's another choice called Clearwire. That is a wireless internet service provider. And the chat room's telling me that they just looked it up, and Carson does have Clearwire. So, A, you've got rights to a plain old telephone service, which can then be turned into a better quality, high-speed internet. You can call. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if DSL Extreme provides service in your area. You can call them and ask. So get your telco set up. You have a right to landline service. I don't care what the landlord says. You have a legal right for safety. No, you cannot live anywhere where they say you can't have phone service. It's illegal. And I don't think there's any homeowners agreement or CC&R that could prevent you from having a landline. So I would look at that. And if they say no, call the California Public Utilities Commission and say, hey, PUC, you know what's happening here? Because I think they have to offer that to you legally. And once you have landline service, then it's a snap to get to DSL on top of that. Whether it's through DSL Extreme or the incumbent carrier, you should be able to get that. Okay, in prison you can't get landlines, but you're not in prison, are you, Nancy? No. Apparently the landlord thinks you are. That's just wrong, and I believe that they're acting illegally. Call Bill Handel on KFI. Ask him. He's a lawyer. Tim in Livingston, Montana. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Tim.
Ooh.
How are you? Welcome.
Not too bad. So I just had a question as far as tablets goes. I've been looking at a 10-inch tablet, and I know Samsung just released the
Note,
the Galaxy 3.
Yep.
And I was kind of wondering between that or like the Nexus, and I wasn't really sure if you'd heard anything about Google releasing another.
Yeah, because the Nexus 10 was an amazing, very high-resolution screen. It was made for Google by, was it Asus or LG? I think it was Asus. I highly recommend that stuff.
Okay,
I think the Note is good if you want a stylus. The Galaxy Notes have touchscreens that use styluses. I think we're due for a Nexus 10 update. I mean, they updated the 7, right?
Yeah.
So I'd watch and see. I would guess that they'll be updating that Nexus 10 sooner than later.
Well, and I was kind of disappointed in the. I thought the Galaxy 3 would have better screen resolution on it.
The Note 3 or the
new, what is it? The
5.7 inch.
Yes, or the one that was just released.
They released a Note 10.1, a 10-inch tablet. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about the phone? You're talking about the 10-inch tablet, yeah.
Yes, I'm talking about the tablet, not the phone.
That did not. What was the resolution? Was it a disappointing resolution? That's.
It wasn't nearly as good as the Nexus.
Yeah. Well, the Nexus was unheard of. So the new tablet is. I'm looking to see if I can find the specs on this. The 10.1 tablet. It's the same as basically a Note 3. Well, that's disappointing. You're right. That's low resolution on a 10-inch. You'd like something a little bit better. I would, maybe just get a Nexus 10, the existing Nexus 10. It's very, very good. It's 1920 by 1200. No, it's more than that, isn't it? 2560 by 1440. It's really good. It's a little bit long in the tooth. It's been out for a while. I think they are due to update it, but, it's still a good tablet. The nice thing about getting a Nexus, which is the Google brand, is that it'll be updated with the latest Android faster than anything else. I think the Nexus 10 is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Great battery life. Good-looking screen. I can't really see. Maybe they didn't update it because it didn't need to be updated, Lamont, Tampa, Florida. Hi, Lamont. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Oh, hang on. I hear the music. You're next. Stand by. Leo Laporte here. Are have you tried the Ring Central phones here at the beautiful Brick House Studios? We are fans, It was actually a coming of age for me as a business owner. And this is all new to me, right? And we were over in the cottage. I made people use theirs. I'm just ashamed to admit it now. Their cell phones. So we don't have phone service. Just use your cell phone. But when we came here, I realized I'm going to have 25 employees. I can't really make them use their cell phone. We need to have a business phone. But what I didn't want, having had experience in other businesses, is an expensive PBX in the basement and all that stuff. So Russell, our contract IT guy, told me about Ring Central. And we have had it now for 2 years, and we're loving it. And it's indistinguishable from, a traditional land-based service, except it's so much more affordable and flexible. Quality, the quality and everything is the same. $20 per user per month. That includes long-distance minutes. It includes getting faxes in your email, voicemails in your email. It includes the free Ring Central app for your smartphone. That means you can place calls from your smartphone that look like they're coming from the business number. We pay the freight. And you can even text people from your business number and receive texts. And there's a new feature now. We've started to use Ring Central Conferencing. We have our own dedicated conference bridge number. Unlimited conference calls, up to 1,000 participants. I don't think we'll be using that. Maybe 5. But that's kind of cool to know we could do it. 1,000 people, mute participants, get caller count, record conferences, and more. You know what we could do, actually? We could have, seminars online. Works with your desk phone, with your iPhone, your Android, or the Ring Central soft phone. You can use a SIP phone with this. And it comes with your monthly service free. I really think it's not, this isn't a home phone. We're talking a business phone that has all the features you'd ever want in a business phone with zero startup costs, no hardware to install, no PBX hardware to install or maintain. And they've got a 30-day risk-free trial right now when you use the offer code TWIT. Plus, when you buy one phone, you'll get a second phone free up to a total of 20 phones. That's a good deal. Call 800-543-9980. 800-543-9980. That's a Ring Central number just for you. 800-543-9980. Or you can go online, ringcentral.com. I'm on the website right now. Use the promo code TWIT. You can watch the overview, all the features. In fact, I highly recommend it. This is the phone we have. I have a Polycom. And they also have a Polycom conference phone in the conference room, all through Ring Central. Really the best way. I gotta tell you. I was so relieved. Ringcentral.com. Use the offer code TWIT or call them. We got that special number, 800-543-9980. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, the Giz Fizz coming up. The Giz Wiz, Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer with his Gadget of the Week. But I picked up on Lamont in Tampa. Can't very well ignore you. Hi, Lamont.
Hey, how you doing, Leo?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm cool. I know you're not working at the Apple store, but I did have a question for you.
Okay. I'm a genius. Just not an Apple genius.
Yeah, I know that to be true. now, I've been eyeing the new Mac Mini for a while. I plan to get it pretty soon.
It's the most affordable Mac out there. You bring your own keyboard, mouse, and monitor, but you get a Macintosh in a little box. It's nice.
Yeah, and like with the hard drive options, I noticed that they had you could get the solid state drive, which I know is good. And
they're fast, but they're expensive, so you don't get as much storage when you buy the SSD drive on it.
Yeah, but they also had their new option where you could get their Fusion drive.
Yeah, I have a Fusion drive on my iMac. So the idea is there's a smaller, I think it's 128 gig SSD paired with a larger spinning drive, like a terabyte spinning drive or 2 terabyte spinning drive. And the idea is Apple's going to move the stuff you use a lot to the solid state drive where it's faster, and it's going to do that automatically. It's somewhere in between a solid state drive and a spinning drive. It is a little bit faster. It's a good compromise. Do you need a lot of storage, Lamont?
Well, kind of, sort of. I mainly was wondering that did it like you said it works faster, because I was wondering, like, if I just got the solid state drive, would that be faster?
Oh, it's the fastest. It's considerably faster. Yes.
Okay, so even though it's a Fusion, it doesn't compromise the quality of the solid state drive or anything.
Well, it does. It slows it down a little bit because it depends. It's faster, but it's not as fast as a pure solid state solution. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, okay.
But it gives you a lot more storage for less money because solid state's so expensive.
Yeah.
I think you probably it really comes down to how much space you need.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're going to do and how much speed you need, I guess, So
I guess mainly I would be more concerned with the speed.
Then get the solid state. I'll tell you what, I put a pure solid state drive in every computer I buy because it just is so much faster. And the truth is, unless you're storing giant video or audio files, it's 128 gig or a 256 gig drive is plenty. You can always get external drives to add storage for bigger files if you're doing video. But on a Mac, 256 gigs, that's what I have on all my Mac laptops. That's a lot of space. You have to be a little more careful. That's all. You can't put everything you want on there. But it is so much faster. Oh, my goodness, it makes a difference. Not good for digital hoarders, but good for anybody who wants speed. Hey, I'm glad we could talk. Thank you, Lamont. Dickie DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer. We call him the Gizwiz because he's also a gadget hound. Hi, Dick.
Leo, how are you, pal?
I am great.
Getting excited about your trippy?
I am. We're going on a little vacation in a couple of weeks, but don't worry. There'll be all new Tech Guy shows through the magic of digital reproduction.
I thought
cloned.
you were just going to record them.
No. Oh, no, my friend.
Oh, no. Digital reproduction. Wow.
What do you have? I could get in so much trouble, so I'm going to stop right now.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk about wood in that case.
Oh, okay, God. You're just killing me here. What do you got, Dick?
Okay. Well, you when you're doing the Daily Gizwiz a long time ago, you recommended on one of your picks of the week bamboo
wooden headphones. Yeah,
exactly.
They have a warm sound. Just something about it. Yeah,
exactly. And a lot of people feel that way. So there's a company called Verse, VERS, and they make little wood sound systems, Bluetooth. The one I have is the Verse IQ. I have it in bamboo. They also make it in beech.
Pretty.
They're really pretty. Beech and walnut. It's a little 3-inch cube. It's $120. The sound is very, very nice, very warm. Played it for several people who liked it. On a full charge, you'll get 10 hours of play. And two things that I liked about this company. One was when they were talking about it, I said, bamboo. And the guy said, okay, listen, we know all about conservation. So since the day the company started, we have 100-to-1 ratio partnership with the Arbor Day Foundation and the U.S. Forest Service. For every tree they use in production, they plant 100 trees.
So when they say sustainable sound, that is. That's neat.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And another feature I've not seen in all Bluetooth speakers, if you happen to have two of them, when you plug in the cable that ships with it, one of them becomes the left channel and the other becomes the right channel. A lot of Bluetooth speakers, they let you piggyback them, but basically you just get a louder, more amplified sound.
This one actually has left and right.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
neat.
Yeah. So
how much are these?
$119.99 or $120.
They're a little expensive.
A little on the expensive side.
Yeah, but they do look pretty.
Yeah, and they sound really decent.
I don't know if wood makes a difference, but I think it does. I think it's a better resonating chamber for speakers. I like they look better. Let's put it that way.
No, they do look. They do look warm. They look warm even when they're not playing.
Go to Dick's website, gizwiz.biz, gizwiz.biz.
Yeah, a new game this week.
We have the What the Heck Is It contest. The last What the Heck Is It was what? What were those guitar picks?
They were can caps. They slipped under the tab that you pop open on a soda can.
Yeah.
And then when you're outdoors and drinking and you want to put the can down, you slide it over the opening so bugs can't get in.
I love the label. They've got a bee looking to get in your Coke, and they have a little...
And a big X across them. No bees.
No bees in your Coke with can lock.
Exactly.
I don't know where he finds these folks. He's done it again. There's a new gadget and a close-up picture of it. Now, the deal is you're not really playing a game to identify it. There's 12 Mad magazines autographed by Dick for the right answer, but they're far more for the best funny answer.
Yeah, like that little wedgie thing. I think the funniest answer we got was a guy named Pizza Girl. He said, you put them under your horse to keep your horse on the level.
Yeah, you don't want a tippy horse.
Yeah, your horse, you'll walk out and your horse is leaning to the left. One of those little
Hate
guys.
It when that happens, yeah. All right, Dickie D, go to gizwiz.biz to play the game. You'll be you have a couple of months. Goes through the end of October, Halloween. Exactly. Lots of fun, and Dick will be back with the Giz Fizz right after the radio show, and then, of course, every Tuesday we do the Giz Wiz podcast on twit.tv.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Dick. Really appreciate it.
Okay, see you in a bit.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks to all of you for joining us. We do the show every weekend right here at this time, and I couldn't do it without you and your calls. Thanks to Heather Hammond for filling in the gaps with phone calls in between my talking all the time. Just a little filler. Nice to have you. I appreciate it. And thanks also to Pete back in the studio for running the board. Yeah. Nathan, Chad? Jeff. Pete, Jeff. I don't know who you are. Okay, Jeff. He's filling in for Nathan, who's got the day off. Thank you for being here. We do the show, as I said, every weekend at this time. But if you want to know more, you go to our website, techguylabs.com. That's where links are to all the stuff I mention on the show. We have a great chat room that's around 24/7. You can be part of that. Ask them questions. And I hope you'll add your comments to our questions and answers on the website. Thanks for joining me. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.